All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into this really powerful fable that comes to us from ancient Baghdad. It's got everything: a poor potter, a magical crane, and a huge lesson about what it really means to be wealthy.
So before we even get into the story, I want you to think about this question. It's kind of the whole point. What is the true measure of wealth? I mean, is it just about how much stuff you can pile up? Or is it something totally different? Just keep that question rattling around in your head as we go through this.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in ancient Baghdad, and we meet our main character, a humble potter named Aryan and his wife, Samia. They live in this tiny little clay hut, and let me tell you, life is tough. It's all about hardship, the smell of wet clay, and that constant nagging worry about where their next meal is coming from.
You know, Aryan just can't seem to catch a break. Every day is a struggle. Imagine this. He makes 10 pots, drags them all the way to the market, and comes back home with 7 of them unsold. Crushing, right? But here's the thing about Aryan. Even with all that failure and debt piling up, his spirit just doesn't break. He has this unshakable faith that, there's a bigger plan here.
And he's always trying to cheer up his wife, Samia. You can't blame her for being down, right? All she sees are the cracked pots and the years of just getting by. But Aryan's faith, it's like this little candle flame in the dark. He keeps telling her, this isn't the end of our story. Things will change.
Now, to really get a feel for their situation, you just have to look next door. There's this other potter, Kasim, and he is the complete opposite of Aryan. He's got a big house, a booming business, and, well, a whole lot of arrogance. He actually makes fun of Aryan for being poor and for having faith. To him, that's just a sign of weakness.
And then it happens. The moment that changes absolutely everything. It's just a normal, hot afternoon. Aryan's out by the canal gathering clay, something he's probably done 1,000 times before. But this time, his life is about to take a wild turn.
He spots something behind a bush. It's this beautiful, stunning golden crane, but it's hurt. It's stuck on the ground, clearly in a lot of pain. Now, another person might have just walked on by, or worse, seen it as something to sell. But not Aryan. His first gut instinct, pure compassion.
And think about this. The man has literally nothing, but he doesn't even hesitate. He rips a piece of his own clothes to make a bandage, finds some medicinal leaves his mom taught him about, and so carefully carries this bird all the way home. Just an incredible act of kindness.
So, that one simple, selfless act, it's the key. It unlocks a miracle. But here's the twist. This miracle isn't just a free gift. Oh no, it's a test. And it's a test that's going to challenge who he is at his core way more than poverty ever could.
A few days go by, the crane starts to heal, and then it speaks. Yeah, it speaks. It tells them it's not just some bird, it's a magical being called a Nuroni Saras, sent from the heavens to find and test good people on Earth. And guess what? Aryan and Samia just passed the first test with flying colors. So the crane offers them this amazing way out of poverty. But there's a catch, a really important one. It's basically a test of character, laid out in 4 simple rules. The magic isn't a blank check, you see. It's a responsibility. Any wealth they get is directly tied to how much they're willing to give away.
Of course, Aryan agrees. He doesn't even think twice about it. And just like that, his life completely transforms. Overnight. But with all this good fortune comes a new kind of danger. It's not about being poor anymore. Now it's about the jealousy that's starting to grow in his neighbor's heart.
The very first egg, it's solid gold, and it sells for an insane amount of money, 1,000 gold coins. And what's the first thing Aryan does? Exactly what he promised. He takes half of it, 500 coins, and gives it away to the poor people in his village. No hesitation, not for a second.
Well, a sudden change like that, it doesn't go unnoticed, especially not by Kasim next door. He sees Aryan's family finally doing well, building a nice new house, and he is just eaten up with envy. He can't figure it out. How did this happen? So his suspicion gets the better of him, and he starts spying on them. And it doesn't take him long. He finds a little crack in the wall, peeks through, and sees the whole thing. The hen, the golden egg, the miracle. And what's his first thought? Is it, wow, that's amazing? Nope. Is it good for him? Not a chance. His first thought is betrayal. He runs straight to the Sultan's court to tattle. And just like that, Kasim's jealousy kicks off the most dramatic part of the story.
It's a perfect example of how envy doesn't just hurt the person you're jealous of, it can totally destroy you, too.
So Qasim tells the Sultan's vizier, who's super greedy, and he whispers in the Sultan's ear. Next thing you know, the Sultan declares that this magical hen belongs to the palace. It's royal property. But Aryan refuses to give it up. He knows it's a sacred trust. So what happens? They call him a traitor and throw him in prison. The gift has turned into a total curse.
But here's where it gets interesting. Once the hen is in the fancy palace, surrounded by all this luxury, it just stops. It becomes a normal, regular old bird. The magic is gone. Poof. No more golden eggs. The Sultan is furious. He storms down to Aryan's cell, convinced he's been tricked, that it's all some kind of dark magic. The Sultan is so mad, he's literally about to kill the poor hen right there in the courtroom, thinking it's useless. And right at that exact moment, bam! The whole room is filled with this brilliant, blinding light. It's time for the final judgment.
And there it is, the golden crane, the Nurani Saris. It appears in all its glory, its wings filling the entire throne room, and its voice just booms with this divine authority, stopping everyone in their tracks. It looks right at the Sultan and calls him out on his greed and his injustice, right in front of everybody.
Then the crane lays it all out, the big lessons of the story. It explains that the magic was never really in the hen. The magic was tied to Aryan's kindness and his charity. The moment the Sultan's greed got involved, the pact was broken and the hen became just a hen. True wealth, the crane says, is all about selfless kindness.
So Aryan is proven innocent, he's freed, and he gets an even better gift. This time, the magic isn't in some animal. It's in his own two hands, the hands of a potter. Now, any pot he makes will turn to solid gold. But the same rule applies. He's got to keep giving half away. He passed the test, you see, the ultimate test of character. And that brings us right back to that first question, doesn't it? The story's basically telling us that real wealth isn't about what you can hoard for yourself. It's about what you give away, what you put back out into the world. It's not about collecting, it's about connecting, which really makes you think, what golden hen are you holding on to in your own life when its real magic only works when you share it?